Hello, today's video is about the granular flow controller, and we show a new way of granular calibration. Granular calibration 2. Here's a video. I'm collecting the granulars in a bin, and I bought a kitchen scale, and it's 5 pounds per acre, and I'm spraying a 2-acre run. So my weight should come out to be about 5 pounds. And here we have 4 pounds 13 ounces, which is pretty close. So because I have a kitchen scale, it's in pounds and ounces. So I'll do the math. I have 12.91 ounces divided by 16 will give me 0.8. So the actual weight is 4.8. So I would do the calibration one more time just to bring it up to the 5 pounds per acre. And here we have a chart showing turns per pound. And as you can see, the higher the RPM, the more turns it takes to make a pound. So shown here is the minimum RPM at 20 and the threshold RPM at 100 and the maximum RPM at 160. So when the GUIA plots that, it plots it as a straight line from the minimum to the threshold and the threshold to the maximum. I'm going to narrow that range a little bit, and I'm going to determine the RPM based on ground speed. So I normally fly at 60, which would be threshold, plus or minus 20 for any wind. So that would give me a minimum ground speed of 40, a threshold of 60, and a maximum of 80. So we got a few things to do before we get started. The first thing we'll do is go into settings and select the keys icon. And that shows the page of settings 1 through 9. I'm going to be dealing with setting number 5, and we'll click on the clipboard and we can see the clipboard page. Here is motor 1 on off and motor 2 on off. We would select those. And back to the setting page, set number 5, motor 1 on off, motor 2 on off, calibrate weight, and dump, which allows you to run the motor to clean out the tank. This is what the platinum page would look like. I'm going to make a new spray area, so I'll do the training icon, hit application, and select new area. And I want to change the name, so I'll select the keyboard. Clear, and the name is going to be 1-5 acres. Say OK and say OK. Now I'll use the up arrow on the keyboard to increase my speed, and I want to bring the speed up to 60. Any speed will work that you want to use. And once I get to 60, I'm going to use the S key on the keyboard to turn the spray on. So spray on now. And I'm looking for 1.5 acres. And here comes my number. Spray off. So that's a 1.5 acre run polygon. Once you select the training icon, that will bring you to the Navigate training page. And then select Settings. Next, select Flow Controller. And select Settings again. And the spray material is fly-in, 5 pounds per acre at a 60-foot swath. I can select that, or select the clipboard if you want to select a different product. Or if you want to add a new one, you can select Add New Item. And then just fill in the name. We'll just put in training. And enter it 5 pounds per acre and 60 for the swath. And say OK. And I think we're going to stick with the fly-in 5 pounds per acre, and we'll say OK. On the home page, we'll select the training icon, and then Application, and Old Area. Here I have shown a 1 acre, a 1.5, a 2 acre, 2.5, and a 3 acre run. I've tested them and they all come up with the same numbers as far as the turns. So you could use whatever you wanted to. The 2 acre would be preferred because it's 1 acre per side. So when you make a pass, if you're spraying 5 pounds per acre, then you should have 5 pounds in your tray. I'm using the 1.5 because I have a kitchen scale and it's limited to 11 pounds. So that gives me a little more room on my weight for calibration. So I'll select the 1.5 acre run. And I want to make sure that the application rate is set at 5 pounds. And we'll say OK. I'm going to select the calibrate weight button. And I want the computer to calibrate on a straight line, not a curve. So I'm going to change some of the settings to make that happen. I'm going to change the RPM settings for motor 1. And I'm going to change them to 3. That'll help me keep track of when I update the settings. And on motor 2, I'm going to set the minimum RPM speed to 3. And the threshold, I'm going to set that to 180, the maximum. And we'll hit the keyboard and punch clear and type in 180. I'm going to set my turns to 1 on the minimum RPM. And I'm going to set the threshold at 1. And I'll use the minimum RPM line to determine my revs for the speeds, and then I'll enter them into motor 1. I want to go to number 5 on the setting, and that'll let me turn motor 1 off so it doesn't run. And if we use the alternate up arrow, we'll begin my spray run. The speed is already set at 40. I can do a 1.5, or it doesn't really matter what size run I do because the computer figures it out. And here we have the spray on. And we'll wait for spray off and we'll check what the weight is. Alternate down arrow, and the weight is 2 pounds, 5.78 ounces, or 2.36. We'll go to the calibrate weight, and here you see at 5 pounds an acre, we should have 3.75 pounds, which would be 3 pounds and 12 ounces. So I'll enter in the new weight, push the keyboard, clear, and type in 2.36. OK. And the new turns are 1.58. So make another run and see how it comes out. I've selected Control A for auto spray and Control P for autopilot, just so it does everything on its own. And we're coming up on our weight, and it is 4 pounds, 6.23 ounces. So that's a little bit over, and we'll put that weight in and we'll see how the next run does. Type in 4.39. And the new turns is 1.36. The RPM is at 17, so we'll want to remember that. We might need it later. Pretty sure we will. 3 pounds, 12.05 ounces. So the actual correct weight is 3 pounds and 12 ounces. So we'll go ahead and change motor 1, RPM 17, turns to 1.36, and we'll know there's a curve, so we'll just add 5 to the 1.36 on motor 2. We'll see how that works out. Again, the RPM is 26. And the weight is 3 pounds, 12.04 ounces, which is very good. So we'll go with that. Threshold change to 26. And the turns is already set. And we'll add another 5 for the maximum. The RPM is 36 RPM. And the weight is 3 pounds, 12.76 ounces, which is like 3/4 of an ounce off, which is pretty good. So we'll enter the max RPM at 36 on motor 1, and the turns is already at 1.46, so we'll change motor 2. Minimum 17, turns to 1.36. Threshold, I want to change that to 26. Good. And the turns, I want to change that to 1.41. Maximum is already set, and so we're finished. Typically motor 1 is left side and motor 2 is the right side. Also, decreasing the RPM will decrease the weight per acre. When you're in the field, you can check the total acres that you've sprayed. If you have, for example, 560 pounds in the spray tank, at 10 pounds per acre you will spray 56 acres. If you only spray 50 acres, then the rate is too high and you need to reduce the RPM. If you spray 60 acres, you're spraying too light and you need to increase the RPM. Often one side will run out too early. Look at the total acres sprayed. If you are spraying light, then increase the side that still has product. If you're spraying heavy, then decrease the side that is empty. Remember, increase motor 1 or 2 to increase the flow rate. Decrease motor 1 or 2 to decrease the flow rate. Thank you very much.